Hi, I'm Pastor Kurt, and this is your 5-minute Bible study. Today we're going to look at Mark chapter 11, verses 12 through 33. Now there's a lot of stuff going on in this section of text here. It begins with Jesus cursing a fig tree, then he cleanses the temple. We hear a little bit more about the fig tree, and then some of the authorities question Jesus' authority. So there's a lot going on. So let's start at the beginning. This fig tree. Jesus comes up to it, notices that it's not producing any fruit, he curses it, and then it withers and dies, never to produce fruit again. Now that sounds really strange to us. Why would Jesus do that to this poor tree? Well, we need to remember that the fig tree wasn't just a tree. It was a symbol for the people of Israel. Think about the other stuff that's going on in this text too. Jesus curses the fig tree as a way of showing that the leadership there, the Jewish leadership, they're not behaving the way that they're supposed to behave. They're not producing the fruit that God wants them to produce. So then that leads us into the cleansing of the temple. Some of us are familiar with this scene. Jesus enters the temple, overturns the tables of the money changers, drives them out, this sort of thing. Well, why does he do that? Is he just in a bad mood? Has he had a bad day? What? Why is he overturning these tables? Well, first of all, we need to think about why are the tables there in the first place. When people came to the temple in Jerusalem, they came there to offer sacrifice. That's what the temple was for. The temple was the one place where you could offer your sacrifice. Synagogues were all over the place. Those are the local places of learning. But the temple, the main center, this was where you went to offer sacrifice. And so these people who were selling animals there were making it convenient for people to just buy their sacrifices on the spot. I mean, imagine the logistics of being somebody traveling to Jerusalem who was going there to offer sacrifice. Either you could bring along your animal, which would just be difficult during your journey, or you could just bring some money and buy an animal while you're there. In a way, you can kind of think of these people who were selling animals kind of like an old school version of an ATM. Right? Instead of bringing money with you, just get the money when you're there, right? One less thing for you to carry on your journey. Also, the money changers. This is important. When you were at the temple, you weren't allowed to use Roman money. You had to use Jewish money. So the money changers would exchange the money. Think about if you've ever traveled to a different country and you had to exchange American dollars for whatever their currency was. It's the same kind of thing. Well, Jesus goes in there and overturns the tables, not because he's upset with sacrifices, but because some people think this is what the temple's all about. That they think the temple's all about exchanging this money and selling stuff, that they've completely forgotten, it seems, that the temple is a house of worship. It's a house of prayer. So Jesus turns over the tables to help them remind them that this is what the temple's really supposed to be about. After this scene, we get a visit back again about the fig tree. So we've got these two scenes with the fig tree that bookend this scene of Jesus cleansing the temple. When two scenes kind of act as bookends, pay attention to what falls in between, because these scenes with the fig tree are meant to be a lens for us to view the cleansing of the temple scene. Well, remember, the fig tree is not producing any fruit. Just like what's going on at the temple isn't producing fruit. When Jesus curses the fig tree, maybe a modern day analogy we could think of would be like a scene where Jesus kills a bald eagle. Bald eagle is not just a bird in the United States. Bald eagle is our national bird. It's a symbol of who we are. It works the same way with the cursing of the fig tree. Following this second scene of the fig tree, some of the powers that be question Jesus. They're saying, why are you doing all this? They question his authority. Well, Jesus replies by saying, okay, let me ask you a question. John's authority, where did it come from? When John was out there baptizing people, where did his authority come from? Did it come from heaven or did it come from people? Well, they think about it and they say, well, if it was from heaven, he's going to say, why didn't you listen to him? And if we say from the people, then the people will riot because they considered John to be a prophet. So they tell Jesus, we don't know. Notice, though, that they admit that John's authority came from heaven. They're just not willing to say it out loud. Sometimes we know where Jesus' authority comes from. We just don't want to say it out loud. In other words, we know that Jesus has authority in our lives. We just don't want him to exercise that authority. In this section here in the Gospel of Mark, we see Jesus exercising his authority. He's the one in charge. And he's not doing it to be mean or lord it over people. Instead, he's trying to bring people back to God. This is why he overturns the tables. This is why he curses a fig tree, right? He wants there to be fruit, just like he wants there to be fruit in our lives when we listen to his authority too. There's your 5-minute Bible study for the day. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.